Hi everybody, this is Steve from Boomer Fitness, and we get a lot of questions here about lower back pain, and this video is going to maybe shed some light on a potential cause of lower back pain. But before I get anything related to lower back pain, I first need to say that if you're having any severe lower back pain that is really debilitating, if you're not able to function, if you're feeling any sharp pain in your spine, and you're having any coming in the gym and there's any exercises that are really hurting your back, that you should consult a medical professional. You should maybe consider seeing a physical therapist and getting some real professional opinions on how to treat your lower back, because if you have any disc problems, that's something that as personal trainers, we really should be referring you out to a medical professional to treat those things. So what I'm going to talk about is is going to just kind of shed some light on what might be causing some chronic tightness in lower back pain. And for those that are cleared to exercise and don't have any really serious lower back injuries, this may be something that could help you out and give you guys some insight into what we can do as trainers to help with this very common cause of chronic lower back pain and tightness. And that is to talk about anterior pelvic tilt. So that's anterior pelvic tilt. I'm a horrible artist, but I have attempted to draw a little diagram here of basically what that looks like. And what that basically is so on the left, on this side, on the left here, we have a normal alignment of the hips here. So this is the hips, this is the front, this is the back of the body, and this is my hips right here. Okay, so this is a pelvis or hip girdle that is in a normal alignment. It's upright. The lower back, you can see, is coming out straight from the hips, and there's no real excessive tilt in the hips. Therefore, the back is nicely supported. And here on the right, we have maybe an exaggerated version of anterior pelvic tilt, where you can see the hips are tilted slightly forward. So we've got this type of thing going on, where my hips are going to tilt, and you can see the lower back here is coming out in a way that is not very straight. It's causing an excessive arch in the lower back, and this just looks painful just looking at it here, because you can see I've drawn it in a way that's kind of excessive, but I just wanted to illustrate what's going on here. And this is actually very, very common, especially nowadays with all the sitting that's going on. People sitting at computers, sitting on their phones, and just poor posture, sitting in the car. Anterior pelvic tilt is very, very common, and this is basically what it looks like here. And the way this is caused is by generally what we refer to as lower cross syndrome. So what that looks like is a relationship between these muscle groups here. So in the Q&A video that you may not have seen, we talked about antagonistic muscle groups and how muscle groups work opposite each other, and how muscular imbalances can cause some joint dysfunctions, and that can apply to the hips and the lower back as well. And we deal with a lot of people in here that have, maybe you're laying down, you're doing core exercises, and you have a really hard time keeping your spine neutral, your back always wants to arch off the floor. Well, you may be suffering from a anterior pelvic tilt issue, and the way that's caused is from lower cross syndrome. So basically, we have four muscle groups that we're looking at when we talk about this cross syndrome here. We have your core, kind of like your abs and your deep core muscles. We have your hip flexors, which are down here, and it also involves your quads. So hip flexors and quads. And then on the other side, on the back side, we have your lower back muscles. And then we have your glutes and hamstrings down here. And where lower cross syndrome comes from is on this diagonal here, we have really tight muscle groups, both here and here in the lower back and in the hip flexors. And then on this cross here, this diagonal, we have weak or loose muscle groups that are not providing enough tension to adequately support our pelvis and our lower back and keep our pelvis aligned. And over time, this uneven distribution of force can cause our pelvis to tilt into a position that's going to not support our lower back and lead to poor alignment of our discs and potentially chronic lower back pain. So when we look at these muscle groups here, the way we fix anterior pelvic tilt is by addressing the weak muscle groups and making them stronger, and the tight muscle groups and trying to stretch those out, increase mobility and flexibility in those muscle groups. And over time, this takes a while to fix. It's not an easy fix, and it's something that is going to require specific exercises that you do and maybe other exercises that you lay off from and avoid doing excessively in order to fix this. So when we look at our tight muscle groups, those are overactive muscle groups that you're accustomed to using too much. So when we sit, our hip flexors, when we sit down, our hip flexors are in this shortened position, and they get shortened up, and over time they get really, really tight and overused. So in order to counteract that, we need to do lots of things that are going to help to open our hips up and lengthen out these hip flexor muscles and stretch them out. Same thing applies to our quads. And then we need to do some exercises that may stretch out your lower back. And on the flip side, on this diagonal, we have weak core muscles. We need to do more abdominal exercises, maybe exercises that are going to help train our core in a position where we have an aligned spine, and we need to place a little bit more emphasis on strengthening our posterior chain, our glutes and our hamstrings. And the effect over time is basically, bear with me here, but I've got a pelvic tilt here, and by making my glutes and hamstrings stronger, and my core stronger, I'm going to end up tilting my pelvis back in this position, and you can kind of see I also need to loosen these muscles up so they're not pulling me down so much, and then we end up tilting our pelvis back over time by creating the proper amount of force in each muscle group that's going to, over time, provide the strength and support we need in certain areas. And so posterior chain exercises to strengthen the glutes are going to be really important, like exercises such as lying down hip raises, hip thrusts, and core stabilization exercises are going to be really important as well. So just a quick short video on this. Remember, I want to emphasize again, if you have any severe lower back pain, although personal trainers may be a good resource for you to talk about with this, if you have some serious issues, you should consult a medical professional, and you should maybe consider getting an MRI or an X-ray on your spine to make sure you don't have any real disc issues, no slip discs, anything like that, and then make sure you're cleared to come in and see a personal trainer. And then if you're just dealing with just some chronic lower back tightness, or you're having maybe some symptoms related to this pelvic tilt, then an experienced trainer may be able to prescribe some exercise that can help you out with that. So hopefully this video was helpful in some way, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
I would love to hear what you liked best about this video. So down below, you'll see a comment section. Just leave your comments, and I want to thank you so much for the comments you've been leaving me over the months, and I've been getting back to filling those out. Also down below in the description box, you'll see a link, and in that description box with that link, you want to click it, and it's going to take you to another page where you're going to get 4 free workouts. To get those 4 free workouts, you just have to enter your email address. So go down below, click the link, and we're going to get you those workouts right away by entering your email address. Also, down below, make sure you click the subscribe button so you get updated when we release all this great content. So thank you again for tuning in. Thank you so much for your comments. Go get your free workouts, and you guys make it a great day.